Twisted Colossus is an RMC hybrid located at Six Flags Magic Mountain. This was an RMC of the original Colossus, which was actually a really solid wooden roller coaster, but this ride is much better. Now, what makes Twisted Colossus different from some of the other RMCs out there is that this is a dueling coaster. Well, it's supposed to be. We'll get to that later. But what makes it different from other dueling coasters is that this is a Mobius loop. Most dueling coasters you have like two separate sides that race each other. Twisted Colossus is one roller coaster, and you do each side on the one ride. This has its advantages and disadvantages. The advantage is that it results in this being a really, really long ride. Disadvantage of that is the ride almost never races as a result. I don't think I've ever gotten a double duel on this thing, but the ride itself is still really fun. So you go up to the station, you get the trains. As with every RMC, you should get the back row for this one. And you turn out, and it's got this fun little pre-lift section. You go through these little tiny bunny hops, and they don't give any airtime or anything, but a few of them bank in different directions, and it's just kind of like a weird start. It's like kind of getting you in the mood, I guess, for going to the ride. And you go up the lift hill on the blue side. This one starts on the blue, and you go down the first drop. This is a great first drop. You whip over it if you're in the back, you get some serious ejector air. And after the drop, it does this little tiny bunny hop, and this thing sends you flying, and you head up into the turnaround. If you're in the front going up into the turnaround, you'll get a great pop of airtime, and you'll even get some airtime if you're in the back. You curve and you head into the high five. This is a really cool element. Basically what the high five is it's two 90-degree bank turns that are made to like face each other. So if the ride is dueling, what ends up happening is the riders on each train can, like, if they have their hands up, it'll be like they're giving a high five, which is pretty cool. But the ride almost never duels, so you get the effect. That being said, you do get some sideways airtime on this, which is always cool. That's something RMC does really, really well. Pop up, drop back down. Again, great pop of ejector airtime. That's what this ride does. Like, this ride is just pure ejector airtime. And then you go through a little bunny hop. Again, more ejector airtime. And you head into this like larger hill. It's bigger than most of the bunny hops in the ride. And this one actually gives you some sustained floater airtime, which is really cool. And this ride has a 0G stall that's right above the hill. So if it is dueling and you look up, you can see the train on the green side above you on the hill, which is pretty cool. And you go into this 0G roll. This is actually pretty whippy. RMC generally does more kind of floaty 0G rolls, but this one just whips you through. You go into a double up, not much airtime on this, and you do a few turns and you go up the second lift hill. A lot of people say the second lift hill on Twisted Colossus kind of like messes up the flow of the ride, and I can see how they say that, but honestly, Twisted Colossus feels less like one roller coaster and more like two separate roller coasters back to back, and it would not feel like a complete ride if the second part wasn't there. It would be pretty short, but because it has the second lift hill and second part of the ride, it's not short. So you do the same thing, you go down that first drop. Again, awesome first drop. Another little ejector airtime hill, really good. You head up into the turnaround again. The high five is better on the green side because you're banking the opposite direction when you go into it, so you really whip. Like you're pretty aggressively thrown out of the train. And you go, and on the green side, you actually do a double down, and this is awesome. Double downs are more, it's the second hill that's stronger, and again, you go flying out of your seat, and you go into this really cool element. It's called the Top Gun stall by Six Flags Magic Mountain. It's pretty much a 0G stall, but you head up, and you're upside down over the top of the blue track, which is awesome if you're dueling. It's still really fun if you're not dueling, but this is an element where you actually feel like you're going upside down. A lot of inversions, you just kind of go through them, but you can tell that you're upside down. Great feeling of weightlessness on this thing. And then after that, it's a few more bunny hops. Some of them are banked, and some of them are not, and you go up that same double up and into the brake run. Twisted Colossus is a phenomenal roller coaster, but it's also a frustrating roller coaster because it could be a lot better than it is. My main issue with the ride has nothing to do with the actual layout of the ride or the elements, because all of those are great. It's that this ride is meant to duel, and most of the time it doesn't, which can be rather frustrating because that's one of the things that could make this ride so much better, being able to interact with people on the other train. I mean, so many of the elements on this thing are built for dueling. That Top Gun stall with the airtime hill under it, and the high five, these are elements that will be vastly improved, which are already great by the trains racing each other regularly. So that's my problem with Twisted Colossus. Element wise, it's great. It's got a good variety of elements. The main focus is ejector air, and it provides ejector air in droves. Well, most of the hills on this ride give airtime. The double up doesn't really. And there's even a moment of floater airtime during the ride, which is cool. Most RMCs don't have that. My thing with Twisted Colossus is just that I really wish it dueled more. The overall score for Twisted Colossus, I'm going to give it a 9. I would probably give this a 9.5 or maybe even a 10 if it regularly dueled, but I had to take off that point because it doesn't run like it's supposed to. Still a fantastic roller coaster. This should definitely be on your bucket list if you haven't done it. Now, comparing it to the other RMCs, I think Twisted Colossus is like right in the middle. I would take kind of the higher tier RMCs over it. I'd definitely take Steel Vengeance, Outlaw Run, Lightning Rod over it. I'd probably take Wicked Cyclone over it too. But I'd take it over something like Joker or New Texas Giant. So yeah, mid tier RMC, really fun ride. Not my favorite roller coaster at Magic Mountain. I like X2 quite a bit better, but it's a very strong second best roller coaster in the park.